So I'm going to do that now. All right, so quick intros for the admissions counselor team that will be speaking today. My name is Caitlin Ferry. I'm the admissions counselor for Job Corps in the Salem area, Mid-Willamette Valley. And I'm also speaking on behalf of Allison Moyer, who is out today, and she is out of Vancouver. So it's the Portland Metro team that usually hosts these calls. And then if you want to go ahead with Grace.
Hi, I'm Grace Smith. I'm an admissions counselor in Southeast Portland and Gresham area, Multnomah area, and also cover some of the outlining areas like Sandy in that area. Glad to be here. Thanks everyone for joining us.
And then Glenn, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Glenn Williams. I'm the admissions counselor in Northeast Portland. I also cover Clackamas County, Oregon City, and then I also do out to Wilsonville, and then I out east to Hood River County and Wasco County, the Dalles, and that way as well. So thanks for everybody being on, and welcome.
Yeah, so again, kind of the purpose of this specific meeting, we're going to go over just a quick value of Job Corps. So people who may not be as familiar with the program, we'll do a really quick overview of the value here in our current economy. Recapping the last meeting, virtual admissions process is now in full swing. We'll kind of cover that. And then what we know for the waitlist current students and waitlisted students, what our COVID protocols are. We'll kind of go over that and what that's going to look like for people. So this is not a general information session, by the way, of the program. So that will happen. I am hosting in the Salem area weekly information sessions. Other admissions counselors, Grace and Glenn, I think are doing private info sessions, and then a couple of others are doing it different. So if you're interested in more details of the program, contact your local admissions counselor and we'll go over that in a different meeting. So really quick, the value of Job Corps in our current economy it's pretty clear. This is a no-cost training program, and that's a huge value for a lot of our young people. You do have to be between the ages of 16 and 24 to qualify for this program. It's a great gap year option. I've been hearing a lot over the past 5-6 years about gap year, and it's important. You know, if people are graduating or transitioning in their life, this is a great option for that to get some training and education before they move on to maybe something a little bit more, maybe college or military, that kind of thing. All right. And also, we do have a couple of other kind of cool benefits on the side people don't necessarily know about a lot is our driver's ed program. So we can help young people get their driver's license on campus, as well as transition money when they're graduating our program. So it can be upwards of $1,200 depending on what they've earned at Job Corps, and usually ranges between $700 and $1,200. So just a really great, again, it's about 1 year to 2 years depending on what they're wanting at the program, either their high school diploma, GED, and training certifications, or just the training certifications if they've already earned their diploma or GED. So again, really great stuff going on at Job Corps. Obviously, we're a residential program, so there's other stuff going on in terms of COVID, which we'll cover towards the end of this meeting. We're hoping to do this in about 20 minutes or less, kind of get in, get out, ask questions at the end, and then we will go ahead and wrap this up. So the next thing we're going to cover really quick, Glenn, if you want to go ahead and do the recap of our last meeting and kind of jump off where we're at now.
Okay, so what we're doing now is some of our campuses have been approved to open up as of October 20th, and that's going to be a phased reopening depending on where the campuses are at, what the COVID status is in that particular part of the country and that county. So depending on what's going on with that particular area will depend on how fast they open up and if they're able to open up. What we're trying to do when we will be opening up, we're going to be opening it up just for students that were already in Job Corps prior to the shutdown because of COVID. So our first priority is going to get those students that were already in Job Corps back to center. So we're going to be working on doing that first. They'll be coming back and be doing small groups, and we'll be getting them coming back between the 6 to 12 students at a time. And they will be doing a quarantine for 14 days at the campuses. They'll be in rooms by themselves. They'll be provided room, 3 meals a day. They'll be able to have their TVs and video games and stuff like that if they want to bring them. And then at some point in time, once they've finished that, they will get tested and everything. And then when they're ready to come in, they'll be brought back into the community and they'll move into regular housing, and they will be required to wear masks throughout the day. And they will only be able to take their masks off when they return back to their room. So that's where we're going to be at as we do that, as we go forward. Masks are required everywhere on campus. And for our students that are be coming back prior to the holidays, we're not going to be allowing students to leave. So they're going to be in kind of like a bubble. So everybody's going to be quarantined to the campus and won't be able to leave at that point. So if you have students that are going to be starting back before Christmas, just let them know they're going to be on campus and not allowed to come to go back home. One of the corrections we're going to have from last time when we had this meeting is that the students that were prior to Job Corps and were there, when they come back, they won't be drug tested. However, when we start bringing our new students in, they will be drug tested when they get there. So that's a correction from our last meeting. So that's kind of where we're at right there. And so, Caitlin, I think you're going to be the next part.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. That's a great correction there. So what's cool about, connecting with youth now virtually is we can do a virtual admissions process. This is kind of new to us. Clearly, we're used to meeting with people in person, and that was almost a requirement of us beforehand, as we'd meet with somebody individually for an interview in their qualification process. We are not, as admissions counselors, going to be headed back to the office, at least right now. We don't have a projected date. So just for those of you who wanted to know that, for in-person information sessions and meetings, we'll do virtually. We have a new servicer we're using, again, for the virtual interview process. It's called DocHub, if you're familiar, and it's where we send an email through the service, and it will have the full application packet in there, but it's directed to them specifically in their email address. If they're if they're a minor, so 16 or 17-year-old, we will need a parent or guardian's email address as well. So things like that, those details are important. And then it's easiest to fill out this stuff on a computer or laptop. Phones, the mobility issue is that it just takes a long time for them to fill out these documents. Although I feel like some of it's easier, like the signature aspect is you just click and go, which is great. So we have, if you don't know the process to apply for Job Corps, we have about 23 pages of signature stuff and then 10 pages of application. It's a little overboard and we could all agree with that, but that's something that we're required to have done with each applicant and their parent, depending on their minor status. Still, foster applicants and homeless applicants, if someone doesn't have access to the internet and to this type of service, we can send UPS packages if possible. I know homeless status is more challenging just in terms of they don't have a home to send the UPS pack to typically. So we would have to find a way around that as well. Unaccompanied youth, thanks for the question. The unaccompanied folks in general, we need some sort of proof. So homeless, unaccompanied, we need McKinney-Vento signatures or a sign off from McKinney-Vento Act. We need many of you could sign off on somebody being a homeless youth or unaccompanied youth, in which case we don't need the parent's email. That was the other question. If there's no parent email, I've even had students email me as their parent's email for their part, but I need an additional email to send to the parent or guardian. So it can be challenging. There's layers there. Again, if it's easier for the person that we're serving to do a UPS pack sent straight to the household or to the organization, that would be much better. Yeah, and so you can do some verification letters. Thank you. Those are great questions about that application process. And then again, yeah, upon request, just let us know if it's easier to send the UPS pack out. It's, you know, handwritten signatures, and we can go through the whole thing over the phone. So we still schedule interviews, you know, by hour typically with folks that want to apply for the program. I think that's it on the virtual process. Grace, do you want to go ahead and jump in on what we need to know about the wait time?
Sure. So most of you probably know that we had some students we shut down in March. And so when we're talking about reopening, it's happened a week ago where we had 4 centers that opened up for students that had already been on campus prior to the pandemic. So when the waitlisted students, which we are recruiting now and they're on the waiting list, they will be called by the centers, and the centers, they'll be called by their counselors or center staff to discuss the ability or the desire that they might have to do virtual learning to start out in the program. So there's 2 students that we're talking about when we're talking about reopening. So the 4 centers that have opened up are Columbia Basin, which is in Moses Lake, Washington, Curlew, which is at Curlew, Washington, Cascades, that's in Cedro-Woolley, Washington, and Tongue Point is in Astoria. So those 4 centers are currently bringing back students, and we've heard numbers of 6 to 10 students at a time that they're bringing, and they're bringing them in to do the distancing on center, you know, making sure that they're being tested for COVID and all that. So there are some guidelines that they're getting on center. And those 4 centers are the ones that are bringing students onboarding now. But those are the students that were already on campus and before the pandemic. As of today, we don't know what other centers will be reopened. We're getting that information from Department of Labor and from our management. And then once those centers open up, they'll be doing the same thing, starting with the students that were currently on campus and before the pandemic. And then the waitlisted students, they'll be asking them and calling them if they have a desire to start distance learning and virtual learning. So there are students, 16 to 12 students that are going to be in small groups that are going to be onboarded from each center. As far as students that are currently waiting, we cannot give you any current time. We're getting that information as we are going through the process of getting students on center. As you guys all well know, Oregon has, you know, is going to be in a lockdown starting today till December 2nd. Some of our centers are in Oregon, the others are in Washington. So it just is really dependent on, you know, how safely we can get students on board. So projected start dates for current students on the wait list can be variable. It's going to be a slow process. It's going to be a safe process. And the students that get on center will be, you know, taking tests. Positive COVID tests on center will really, you know, dictate as to how the process is going to continue. So luckily, we haven't heard any negative feedback yet from the students that have been on center just recently. So it's safe to say that we don't expect any waitlisted students to start in-person learning until 2021. Is that where we're heading? We all want 2020 over, right? And realistically, you know, we are making these meetings so we can stay in touch with case managers that you're working with students that need these services. We are still recruiting, and we want students to understand that there are some options for distance learning, but if they feel that they cannot do that, then they have the option to decline that, but we'll still be on the waiting list. So, you know, we encourage you to send students to us that are in need of the services at Job Corps. I think once we open up and, you know, we get started full board again, then we're going to have a huge number of students that are going to be needing the housing, the education, and the training. And so we're just trying to prep and help students to at least start the process and then keep giving them monthly updates as needed. And they don't have to wait to get monthly updates, and neither do you guys. You can email us, you can text us, you can connect with us so we can give you updates as needed. Okay, back to you, Caitlin.
Yeah, so just to wrap it up, I know there's a couple people that had general questions. The wait time is the most common question we get, especially with a population that's so vulnerable. You know, the foster youth, unaccompanied youth, where they don't necessarily know what tomorrow brings. What I encourage is just to keep in contact with us. We also host our information meetings and weekly or monthly updates to our waitlisted students. So we directly contact with them via Zoom monthly as well. So it's going to be on a continual basis, just like this. And I know connectivity issues could be a problem, and some people don't have access to the internet, Zoom, or other. So those are just things that we try and do to connect and make sure people are as up to date as you want to be with this process and getting back to, I would say, quote unquote, normal operations, and getting people the services that they need in terms of education and training. So that's really our goal here. I wish I had better news as to the wait time, but like Grace said, our main priority is just safety of all our staff and students, you know, equal to, you know, all of us being healthy and safe. So hopefully I answered some of your questions. I know that there's probably some more personal questions as to people that you serve. So if you think it may be something good for the group to hear, I'd love to take a couple of questions. If it's a little bit more personal, go ahead and send an email to your admissions counselor that you work with closely. I will right now, so you guys can capture this link, is I'm going to put the link to the survey into our chat box for everyone to see, and to click on. The survey purpose is just to get a little feedback, and then we are offering a gift card, $20, sent directly to you from us, if it's you know, whichever gift card you prefer. So a little bit of a treat for us, 2020 treat, shall I say. So if you want to go ahead and you can hop off the call if you need to. Go ahead and let me get this link before you go, or you could ask questions. I'm going to open up the floor. Hopefully this works here. Oops, sorry guys, lost my video. Any questions? No questions? Okay, hang on, just hang on tight just a second.
Caitlin, I don't have a question, but I'd just like to introduce myself if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Barrett, and I am a new employee at Shemekeda Community College. The Department of Labor launched a Job Corps Scholars Program recently, and they awarded about 20 colleges with 3-year grants to serve Job Corps eligible students. And these students can pursue certificate courses, career technical education, and it's a demonstration grant. So, you know, you can find out some more information about that program by contacting me, and there's information available online. I'm not sure what the guidance is, regular Job Corps versus Job Corps Scholars, and the program is not meant to compete with regular Job Corps. I worked with Job Corps for 9 years at various centers, mostly in social development, so I'm very familiar with the program itself. And, you know, again, I work at Shemekeda. My name is Daryl Barrett, and I'll put my information in the chat in case anyone wants to reach out to me.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Daryl. That's a good little side there about the Job Corps Scholars Program. So thanks for letting them know about that. All right, so if there's no more other questions, Daryl's going to put his information in the chat, so I'll leave this meeting running for a couple of minutes. But you guys are free to hop off and ask personal questions to your admissions counselor. hopefully it was informative for you guys. Thanks for coming on.